I hope this is the content that you guys click on and subscribe for, because if not, I am so sorry. I also do have the boots on, by the way, just so you guys know. But yeah. So it has been almost exactly a month since the sneak peek promo first dropped. And now it is August 8th, and like everyone, when that promo dropped, all they could talk about was the scenes between Luz and Amity, and here we are, almost exactly a month later, with Enchanting Grom Fright. And I am absolutely terrified. Like, there was hype before, just like when the promo dropped, and like when Dana tweeted out her "there really isn't" tweet, but like the past 2 weeks, the crew has been hyping this episode up. And, Thursday night, I was getting to the point where I was like, okay, we got this, like, we can handle it, like, they've been hyping us up, but we can handle it. And then Dana dropped the promo art for this episode, and they were right. The crew was right. We could not handle it. Everybody like collectively lost their minds, because the first thing I thought of immediately with that promo art was how it paralleled the promo art that Dana came out with for Lost in Language, with like Luz and Amity like sitting with their backs turned to each other. And in the Lost in Language one, Luz had her hand reaching back. In that episode, she was trying to get to know Amity better, trying to befriend her. And in this one, it's like the reverse, where Amity is reaching her hand back and like Luz is like balled up and her hands aren't anywhere near hers. So I'm scared for that. Now, my predictions for this episode, honestly, compared to other episodes that I've predicted before, I'm more cautious about this one because I'm not as certain as to what's going to happen. Especially with the promo art now, with like Amity holding something in her hand and Luz like texting her mom. Yeah, so I think Amity is gonna either like have a gromposal for Luz to ask her out. Maybe it's like a confession of feelings or something like that. Some people are saying it's a letter of acceptance to the Emperor's Coven, but I don't see that because she's 14. And that seems to be something that you get into when you're a little bit older. And then Luz is texting her mom. So I think the illusion of Luz's mom will come through with the whole Grom tiara thing. And I think we'll just kind of get like build up to that in this episode, maybe where we see Luz actually texting her mom and kind of like letting her know what's going on at, camp, which I think will be nice to touch on because we haven't seen that really since episode 1 of the series. So I'm scared for all of that, but ultimately, I think the biggest thing out of all this, I don't think Luz's mom will be real. I think it's going to be an illusion because of the whole Grom tiara and like your biggest fear is coming to get you. And we know that Luz is going to be like in some sort of like gladiator fight or something like that. We see her with the flail. Maybe Amity is supposed to be the one to wear the Grom tiara, and then Luz is like, no, I'll protect you, I got this, I'll do this for you. And that's the whole like, I'll be your fearless champion line that we saw from the little short promo that was released. The other thing about that is that like something about that scene seems off to me because Amity doesn't react when the spider jumps on Luz's face, and given it was such a short clip, maybe she reacts after it. But yeah, that was also throwing me off. So just in terms of predictions, I don't have as many compared to other episodes. But with that, I'm not ready. I'm scared. But here we go. Let's go to Grom, everybody. We're going to Grom. Oh God, I'm so terrified. I'm absolutely terrified.
Come on, work this time.
Oh, this is how she's just doing it on her own. Good job, Luz. That's cool that Luz is just like taking initiative and just, trying to find glyphs on her own. Yep. Totally good. Having so much fun. Yep, that is my go-to emoji. Thumbs up. That's it. Oh, she's so showing up at Grom when Luz wears that tiara. 100%. I'm so nervous. I'm so scared. But I like that we're touching on the fact that, she's texting Luz and Luz is still, trying to keep up the charade. But 100% Luz's mom is showing up when Luz wears that tiara. All right. Yep. Let's learn about Grom.
You guys have
oh my gosh, is Amity gonna try to ask Luz?
Watch it, nitwit.
Oh man.
Hi, Luz. And Co. Sorry about
and
that.
Co.
No problem.
She's still a little bit mean about everything.
Man, you got some quick grabbers. It's private.
Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit. Is it Amity? Amity! Luz is gonna come in and save her.
Short for Prometheus, the Fearbringer.
Prometheus the Fearbringer?
Grom can read minds and shapeshift into your worst fear. And mine is very embarrassing.
Wait, is it loose? Oh god. We're not even like halfway through this episode and I'm already losing my mind. Nice outfit, Ida.
I'm chaperoning Grom tonight.
I called that she was chaperoning Grom. I tweeted it out. Okay, so it's not an illusion. She does actually see Amity. It was just weird because she didn't react and it wasn't animated.
I'm a bad boy.
I'm a bad boy. Is it Amity? It's Amity. It's gonna be Amity. Don't hit Amity. Oh, you hit Amity.
Here, I thought this day. Oop, couldn't get enough.
Oh my god.
Unless I can find a replacement. Who'd want to
Loose.
switch with me?
Loose. Loose. Do it.
I would.
Do it. Do it. Oh, they just held the frame longer in the promo. Oh, that's just mean. Oh, that was mean that they held the frame longer in the promo.
Bird tube ever talks to me again, I'm going to destroy it. You ready to train?
Oh, hey,
Grom will
and them.
transform into your
Oh,
darkest
that's
spheres.
Amity beat up Hootie.
Being alone
I'm
forever.
stuck with you forever.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Ed.
Operation Herbie
Ed and
a
Em
real
are gonna
witch.
make the clone of Ida, and it's gonna pop out. And yep.
What's the fun in watching a kid get eaten by a monster if it's my kid?
I love how maternal Ida's being about all this.
We're literally out of time.
That was it? That was all the training that they had? It's happening like tonight? Oh, she's so cute. Oh my gosh.
Nice. Strange, but nice.
Aw.
And thank you, Luce.
I knew she was gonna say
Honestly,
thank you.
You going soft on me, Blight?
In your
Oh,
dreams.
they're so
Now that
precious.
you're
I love them so much. I love that she's laughing and smiling more.
Luce the human!
Does no one know her last name?
Luck.
Is she gonna like come and like save her and help her and then we're gonna see Amity's fear? Oh, Skara is wearing a suit. Way to go, Skara. I love it. Poor King. Oh, yay. I'm glad to see that we're like Gus and King are getting along. I'm glad that this is building off of really small problems. Yeah. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Ta-da!
And is that a weapon?
No.
Explain.
Hey guys, your friend's about to die. Like, I love the bro talk here, but your friend's about to die. Oh yeah, Amity's coming to save the day.
Away from her.
Look at this girl. Oh, what's her fear?
Amity.
Oh god, what's her fear?
Who is that?
That's Luce. That's Luce. She's a fear of being rejected. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, look at
You were
this little
afraid of
sweet
being
babies.
Really?
That's what friends do.
The first part said Luce. It tore off the name, but
May I have this dance?
oh, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm gonna make fucking lose. Holy Data Terrace and the crew just went all out. They gave no shits. They're like, we're doing this. Oh my god. The animation is incredible. Spencer One, you mad genius, you. Oh my god. Molly knocks Ostertag. Oh my god. Look at her blushing.
Out?
Oh, it's not important.
You. Oh my fucking god. They just did it. They're just out here. It's not even subtle. It's we out here right now. Oh my god. Oh, look at her laughing and being happy. Oh, look at them. They just went all out. They gave no fucks. They're like, yep, we doing it. No, not duck. Be like, I danced with like the girl of my dreams.
Te extraño también, mami. One day, I'll tell you all about this.
Yeah.
Aw, that's a cute way of saying text.
Oh, I thought she was like actually sending. No, she actually is sending letter. What is that? Wait, whoa. Having reached out before. What? Oh, I'm gonna have to pause that and go back. Who's sending her letters? Oh, look at that little dapper girl. Is it Amity? Oh, look at them. Oh my god. That was like, everyone was hyping it up, and they said that we weren't ready, and they were right. We weren't ready, because I didn't expect them to just go all out like that. Oh my god. That was... Oh my god. Imagine being somebody who's like, no, Luce and Amity are just friends, and watching this episode just like, yeah, the people are like, you're reading too much into it. Nah, especially after understanding Willow last episode. Nah, And then this one, no way. Like, they could not have been more blatant about it. Also, oh my god, who's sending letters to Luce's mom? Like, it's gotta be someone in the Emperor's Coven, right? Hold on, wait, we gotta go back and read that. Hold up. Ah, god. The fact that we're also gonna get a gay, like, sports episode next with Willow, Luce, and Amity, like, cause when she said letters, I was like, oh, someone's sending letters. Hi, Mom, I'm having a great time at camp. Today we learned what mortgages are. I can't wait to get home and see you. Let's do lots of fun mother-daughter activities for... They spelled Luce... The name is spelled wrong. Today I made a friend. Some of it's cut. Another beautiful... Oh my god. Who's writing these? It's gotta be someone in the Emperor's Coven. Who knows about Ida and Luce. But why, though? Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my god. All right. Well, that was a hell of an episode. Holy shit. Oh, my god. Wow. Oh, I loved that. Dana and Molly Knox Ostertag and the rest of their crew were just like, yep, we're doing this. This is happening. Oh, God. Whoa. I'm gonna watch it again.
We weren't ready, guys. We were warned from the crew for like 2 weeks that we wouldn't be ready, and they were right. We weren't ready. But Dana Terrace and the crew need to take a bow because, my god, this episode was hyped up and it still exceeded my expectations. But before I get into the episode, let's go over our codes. Our episode title message, as we know, is "A witch loses a true way." And our secret symbols are found here in the backstory on Grom, in the top left corner here, and it translates to mud. So our message is now 2 witches torn apart, now alone, 2 hearts of stone, a curse of feathers, and mud. So this throws out my bone idea from last week, so with 3 episodes left, and 3 words left to discover, I am curious to see how mud fits into all of this. But with messages out of the way, let's get into relevant plot and lore. To open the episode, we actually see Luce teaching herself new glyphs, and I like that we see that she is taking her own initiative in learning new spells. Based on the amount of crumpled papers and Luce's frustrations, it seems that Luce doesn't always get her spells on the first try, as we saw in Adventures in the Elements. But this goes back to one of my favorite things about Luce, her dedication, and I am super curious to know how Luce will find other spells. We know that she learns fire, so this will likely be in the next episode, Wing It Like Witches. We also see that Luce's mom has been texting her. I'm assuming that this has been throughout the show thus far, and not the first time since episode 1, since Luce has been on the Isles for a few weeks at this point. We then go to Hexside and we learn about Grom and how the chosen Grom King or Grom Queen must face off against Grom, aka Grometheus the Fearbringer, a monster that lives underneath Hexside and must be defeated by the chosen student, otherwise it will be released out onto the Isles and take shape of everyone's greatest fear through its mind-reading abilities. So just your normal high school responsibilities. And this year it's Amity's responsibility, at least until Luce offers to take her place. And really, Disney, I know I pointed out in your previous promo for the Owl House that this beam of light was edited in, but really, you went ahead and used a mask layer and then held on this frame so that we wouldn't see Amity's reaction? I'm gonna have to seriously step up my promo analysis game if you're gonna be editing clips like this. But this brings us to training Luce to get ready to fight Grom, and we see Ed and Em are able to combine their powers together to make a giant clone version of Ida, one who is also capable of casting spells. So this seems like some pretty advanced magic. From Adventures in the Elements though, it seems that the two have a natural talent and are likely more advanced magic users for their age. Once we're at Grom, we see Luce take on her fears leading up to the biggest fear of facing her mom, to which she runs away from. Now, I'll get into the big Grom dance fight in a little bit because I feel it was more related to character development than plot, but I will point out that Amity could draw circles with her feet as seen here, so that's a new alternative way of doing magic. Also, damn Amity, you are flexible. We also see Luce use her new plant magic spell that she learned in the beginning of the episode, and this time it seems a bit more intense than a simple houseplant, so I'm excited to see how this plays out when Luce faces off with Lilith. But let's talk about the animation because my god, Spencer Wan did an incredible job boarding and animating this dance sequence. Like, I remember watching the fight scene from Convention and being blown away and wanting more scenes like that, and man, did Dana, Spencer, and the rest of the crew deliver. Like, this is gonna be one of those scenes that will go down in history as an important moment for animation, so congratulations to everyone who worked on this scene and this episode in general. But Grom is defeated and both Luce and Amity receive their tiaras. Now in the Witch's Apprentice game, the description of the Grom tiara made it seem like whoever wears it has to face their fears. But it actually looks like once you've defeated Grom, you receive the tiara. The Witch's Apprentice game has had some small inaccuracies between the in-game descriptions and the show, such as the shrieking spray bottle, which in the game was described as belonging to Mysterioso, but in the show, Tibbles took on the name Obvioso. So going forward, the remaining relics may also have some inaccuracies. But with Grom defeated, this brings us back to the Owl House, where Luce finally gives her mom a more legitimate reply than just emojis. And again, I'll go more in depth into this later when I go over character development for this episode. But this leads us to discovering that someone has been sending letters to Luce's mother. The letter on top reading, "Hi Mom, I'm having a great time at camp. Today we learned what mortgages are. I can't wait to get home and see you. Let's do lots of fun mother-daughter activities forever and ever. Love your daughter Luce," spelled incorrectly with an S instead of a Z initially. We can actually get a slightly better view of one of the other letters in this wide shot. "Today I made a friend. Friends are the best. We chased a lot of blank at camp, they." In the close-up, the letter actually moves to the top left where we can see the word birds, so it's possible the sentence is "we chased a lot of birds at camp." The last letter we can only see a few words, "another beautiful day at." Now, my immediate thought was the Emperor's Coven because let's be real, they're super shady. And clearly they want something with Ida, and Lilith knowing that Ida has an apprentice in Luce, I could see Lilith and the Emperor's Coven trying to use Luce in some way to get to Ida. And they would need Luce to stay on the Boiling Isles in order to do so, so they are sending fake letters to give Luce's mother the impression that everything is fine. Now another idea that came to me is that Ida is writing the letters. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think we've seen any of Ida's handwriting so far in the show, so this could be a bit more difficult to prove. But we've seen more recently, and especially in this episode, Ida being far more maternal towards Luce. So I could see Ida possibly wanting her to stay, so she is sending fake letters. Ida also has the means of doing so by having access to a portal. However, I think the biggest piece of evidence that would contradict this would be the misspelling of Luce's name. I feel like Ida would know how to spell her apprentice's name. And the letters seem to have been coming for at least a little while now, as Camilla has at least 3. Which tells me that they have been coming at least somewhere around the time that Luce has arrived on the Boiling Isles. And even though Ida took a liking to Luce, I don't see her sending fake letters to her mom almost immediately after arriving. Ida would also have to know that she couldn't keep Luce there forever, since in the first day, Luce said she would be going back to the human world at some point. And in Really Small Problems, King also acknowledges that Luce will leave at some point. For Ida not to do the same would be weird. Another theory I've seen pop up is Amity wrote the letters, and honestly, while the handwriting is similar, it's not exactly the same. And like I said before, it seems like Camilla has been getting these letters for a while now. Luce and Amity didn't start off on the right foot, only recently being on friendlier terms. So why and how would Amity be sending letters to a human girl's mom that she doesn't even like? So yeah, Amity seems to be the least likely of the options so far. I feel like the Emperor's Coven is most likely since they probably have some sort of motive and or interest in Luce. But man, that was definitely a twist I was not expecting, and I am so incredibly curious about it. And also look at my favorite dorks, look at how cute they are. But with plot, lore, and world building out of the way, let's get into some character development. Now, the two most obvious characters are going to be Luce and Amity, but I will get to them in a bit. First, I want to go over King, Gus, and Ida. King and Gus are tied together with their development as both were acting as MCs for Grom. And I really like seeing characters that don't typically interact with each other, interacting. Really Small Problems was the first stepping stone for Gus and King's friendship, so I like that we're already developing that further 2 episodes later. I also like how Gus, who is a character who is generally overlooked, as we saw in Something Ventured, Someone Framed, was very popular among the other students as the MC, and it was Gus who took a leadership and mentor role to King in helping him overcome his stage fright. I always like it when the overlooked or underestimated character ends up rising to the occasion, and Gus was able to do just that. Moving on to Ida now. She wasn't in this episode a ton, but when she did show up, it was always to reaffirm her protective instincts when it comes to Luce. Now, Ida is still Ida at the end of the day and doesn't always phrase things the best way. And when Luce first mentions the idea of taking Amity's place, Ida and also King react in a way that reminds me a lot of how they treated her in Witches Before Wizards. Openly laughing and mocking her, although this time around I feel both are doing so from a position of genuinely caring about her safety. King even remarking that maybe Ida was too hard on her. And also based on this line here and how Ida is looking at herself in the mirror, do you think that Ida was Grom Queen for 1 year and she didn't want Luce to have to go through the same thing? It just seemed like Ida had some sort of personal experience with Grom and that's why she was so against Luce doing it. But Ida clearly doesn't want Luce getting hurt, even referring to her as my kid. And she is also nervous at Grom expecting the need to step in and save her. And this was a small moment, but I did like seeing Ida actually getting embarrassed when Grom takes her form, showing that she's disappointed in herself for being a fear of Luce's. Ida is quick to jump into action and save Luce, Luce admitting that she wasn't ready, and I actually like that Ida just says that it's okay. She doesn't try to give her some huge pep talk or, on the other end of the spectrum, scold her. She acknowledges that Luce is still young, still a kid, and will sometimes get in over her head. When Luce and Amity are able to defeat Grom on their own, we see that Ida is proud. Far more proud than Luce is of herself. And again, it's just nice to see Ida's maternal side when it comes to Luce. Speaking of Luce though, let's talk about her. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I love that Luce is taking initiative in learning new spells on her own. Luce has always been someone who, once they put their mind to something, they give 110%. And even though the glyphs aren't working after her first few attempts, she still keeps trying. So I liked seeing this a lot. The big point of development here for Luce in this episode is that she is struggling to text her mom, feeling guilty about lying to her, yet knowing that she can't say anything about the Boiling Isles. I think this is a pretty relatable issue of being a kid and lying to your parents, and I'm glad that the show is finally addressing Luce's feelings on the situation, since we haven't gotten anything since episode 1. Now, the other point of development in this episode is Luce taking Amity's place for Grom, and this just shows Luce's selfless attitude, always putting others first before herself, and all around just being a good friend. I mean, she basically gives a knight in shining armor speech right here. When we get to the training, we see Luce has her superficial fears, and when questioned by Amity, Luce believes her fear is being fragile and weak. And that's what she thinks her biggest fear is, but we'll get to that in a second. I do really quickly want to talk about the hallway scene. I like that Luce is nervous here. I think she knows that she's biting off more than she can chew, and also knows in the back of her head Ida really isn't her greatest fear. I also really love this interaction between Luce and Amity here. I think it shows how far the two have come in their friendship. When Luce begins fighting her fears, we see them escalate from minor to more severe. And initially Grom takes the form of Ida, but after reading Luce's mind, it knows what her true fear is, facing her mom. The fact that Luce is so shocked also tells me that she is in denial about this being her fear, because she literally runs away from it. And honestly, I don't like when characters are always brave and face everything without even a trace of fear. The fact that Luce is running from this and says Ida was right reaffirms that she's still a kid and still learning how to face her fears, and that she won't always have an answer to every problem that she is faced with. This is far more realistic and relatable than the protagonist faces all their fears head-on trope. When Amity ends up stepping in, I also like that Luce is still putting her first, being worried that Amity's fear will be revealed. And when she reads the torn note, she immediately offers to go with Amity. No hesitation, no initially probing questions, Luce is just being a good friend and wants to be there for Amity. I just love this girl so much. Now, once we get to the dance part, this is honestly just representative of Luce and Amity's friendship and potentially anything beyond friendship. Just the way that they are able to follow each other's lead, both through the dance and through their use of magic, shows how in sync these two are and what a great team they make. I also like that both Luce and Amity took on both typically male and female roles in the dance, Luce catching and twirling Amity while Amity dips Luce. I just thought those were some nice touches. Honestly, I wish I had more to say about this moment, but it's kind of one of those things where the scene really speaks for itself, but I will come back to it again a bit later when I talk about Amity. Going back to Luce though, I do like that she is a bit nosy and wants to know who Amity was planning on asking. Luce is a bit of a hopeless romantic, but god, is she so oblivious to Amity's feelings towards her. I honestly wonder how Luce would have reacted if Amity had told her, but I'm definitely okay with finding out in a future episode. Now when Luce returns to the Owl House, she ditches the tiara because it reminds her of how weak she was and that she couldn't face her fear. Remember this for later because I'm going to bring it up again. But this leads Luce to finally texting her mom and giving her a legitimate reply. It's vague enough to not raise suspicion, but serves as a stepping stone for Luce maintaining some form of communication with her mother, so this was a nice step for Luce. I like that we got to see her more vulnerable side and that she can still be a scared kid, but we also got to see those sides of Luce that we love with her dedication and compassion for others. Which brings us to Amity. Now when Amity is first introduced in this episode, we see the Amity that we saw in episodes 3 and 5. And it's kind of surprising at first given to how the last episode Understanding Willow left off, but looking back now after watching the episode, her lashing out wasn't necessarily intentional. We know that she's stressing out about the gromposal, and Amity has been shown not to do well when she's put in vulnerable situations, so her calling Luce a nitwit was more so reactional rather than intentional. And once she realizes that it is Luce, you can immediately see her disposition change. And she even acknowledges Willow and Gus and apologizes. So these are some nice moments to show that Amity is still trying to be better, but will still occasionally fall back into those old habits. And oh my god, my heart is breaking when Amity swipes the note back and says that it's private. When Amity does get picked, you can see her look around at the other students before running off. And this is given more significance when we find out in the next scene that Grom shapeshifts into your greatest fear. So already knowing this, Amity understands that all of her peers will see her fear of being rejected. Being the popular top student and a blight, it's understandable why Amity would be scared and embarrassed by this, though there's also a deeper meaning that I'll get into a little bit later. When speaking with Luce, we can see how Luce is still able to make Amity laugh and smile even though she's clearly upset by the situation. Just another moment where we see that Amity has a soft spot for Luce, and Luce is probably the one person that Amity feels comfortable enough with to let her walls down. Now when we go to the forest, my biggest question was, why was Amity wandering around the forest at night? Now I don't know how far Luce had traveled from the Owl House at this point, but I'm wondering if Amity was looking to go and find Luce there for comfort. I know Amity was initially dismissive and claims that her day couldn't get any worse, but I wouldn't be surprised if she just said that to cover for herself. Like I said, Amity doesn't do well when she's put in vulnerable situations. But like, come on, look at these two here and look at how she's looking at Luce. When we move on to training, we see that Amity is less than impressed with Luce's superficial fears by saying the following line.
Not enough! The reason I can't face Grom, it goes deeper than things that just gross me out. What's your real fear, Luce?
And here is where I feel we have crossed the threshold for Grom being a metaphor for Amity and her sexual orientation. When she says her fear goes much deeper than things that gross her out, that's understandable. But considering we just got some backstory last episode and saw a glimpse of just how awful her parents are, plus all the pressure she is under to do well in school, and to have it be revealed later on that her biggest fear was being rejected and subsequently outed as not being straight in front of her peers, shows how deep this fear runs with Amity. Especially looking back at the scene where she looks around at the other students. You can tell she has thoughts running through her head about how everyone will judge her. As I've said, Amity doesn't do well being vulnerable, and having her biggest fear happen in front of everyone at school would definitely cause her to be a bit more withdrawn and short-tempered as we see in this episode. I mean, she literally beats up Hootie. Once we get to Grom, we see Amity still mulling over the gromposal to Luce. And look at how quickly she tucks it away when Luce shows up, and also look at how Amity looks at her. This girl is in love, like head over heels in love with this dork. And seriously, Dana, Molly, and crew, you hit us with this?
Yeah, right.
You going soft on me, Blight?
In your dreams.
Amity, I know that you're wishing Luce sees you in her dreams. But seriously, I love the interaction between these two, Amity saying Luce looks nice and putting her hands on her shoulders and admiring Luce and what she's done. Yeah, this girl is in love. When Luce goes off to fight Grom, we see how guilty Amity looks here when she wishes Luce luck. You know she's having conflicting feelings during all of this since Luce is essentially about to bear it all to protect her. And I'm glad that we see Amity is conflicted. This wasn't something she just dumped on Luce and took no accountability for. She helped her train and was the last person she spoke to before Luce went to fight. Still, she doesn't seem at ease with her actions. And then we get this scene here. There's no words, but you know that Amity and Ida are both like, yeah, we're gonna go save our girl. Amity then steps in and doesn't even attempt to cast a spell, she just kinda takes the hit here to protect Luce. And we even get Amity apologizing to Luce for not fighting her own battle and putting Luce at risk. When Amity's fear is shown, we see Grom tear the note and we can see Amity flinching, clutching her dress, and then picking up the torn piece of paper, the one that says Luce, might I add, and holding it to her chest. Just a lot of really good expression and actions here done through the animation to show you what Amity is feeling. After Luce offers to go with Amity to Grom, just look at how cute she is for like her little really. Like, come on Amity, this girl was legit trying to be your knight in shining armor and is literally like the one person who makes you laugh and smile. Of course she'd go with you. I also like that when Luce says that's what friends do, Amity doesn't look mad or upset at all. She's just happy that she gets to go to Grom with the girl that she likes. For as much of a hopeless romantic as Luce is, she's a bit oblivious, like come on Luce, I know that you've read and have written fanfiction, you should know the signs. And then of course we get our dance scene. Like I said before, this pretty much represents Luce and Amity's friendship and anything potentially beyond that. For Amity in particular, this is a bigger moment for her than Luce, because Luce is under the impression that they are going to Grom as friends. Whereas for Amity, this is kind of the big moment she's been waiting for. She gets to dance and go to Grom with the girl that she likes. Again, I think this scene honestly speaks for itself, so thank you to Dana and everyone on the crew who had a part in it. Now, while both girls get their tiara for defeating Grom, neither of them actually overcame their fear. Amity ended up going to Grom with Luce, but only because Luce saw the lower half of the note and offered, not because Amity asked. She even threw her half of the paper and avoided the question when Luce asked her. And for Luce, we already know that she wasn't completely honest with her mom, but was vague enough to at least start to tell the truth. For both girls, it was like a halfway point. They didn't overcome their fears, but they took a step in the right direction to try again in the future. And honestly, I loved this. I love how neither one succeeded. They're both kids. They're still learning, experiencing life, and discovering more about themselves. They don't have all the answers to their problems, and they're gonna stumble along the way. But that just makes us love them more as characters. And look at how happy these two are, laughing and smiling at each other. It's just so wholesome. And don't think I didn't see that handhold, Luce. Now remember when I said Luce ditched her tiara on the floor because it reminded her of how she felt weak? Well, Amity was the opposite. She actually kept it in a keepsake box, because to her, the tiara reminds her of the night she got to spend with Luce. I've always loved the parallels the show has created between Luce and Amity, but honestly I think this is one of my favorites. I love seeing how both characters react differently to the same object based on what it represents for them. I always say that I love Amity more and more with each episode she is in, and yeah, that's still true. I like that we saw her walled off side again in the beginning and middle parts of this episode. She's made a lot of great progress, but she's still got her insecurities that she needs to work on. But we also see how she's becoming more open. She laughed in this episode like 3 times, and that's more than we've had in the entire series so far. Luce makes Amity happier, and Luce makes Amity better. And I am beyond excited to see how their relationship develops after this monumental episode. Like, I'm still kind of shocked that all happened in a Disney show, and if this was just to set up something more between Luce and Amity, then I can't even imagine what we're gonna get in future episodes. We have Wing It Like Witches next week, and it looks to be an episode that will be a Luce, Willow, and Amity team-up episode, so I am excited to see their dynamic. But Enchanting Grom Fright was a monumental episode, not just for the show, but for animation in general. This will definitely be looked back on as an important mark in animation history. And I loved every moment of it, and I will definitely be rewatching that dance sequence on repeat for the next few days. To close out this video, I just want to say thank you to Dana and the crew. Disney has always kind of been behind when it comes to representation, and for the Owl House to do it so well and also so openly with 2 wonderful characters in their own right, it means a lot and will have a huge impact on so many people out there. So again, thank you. But with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and until next time guys, take care.